Okay, so a very good evening to all of you. With this video, we're starting with the cyst of the odontogenic origin. We have already covered the tumors of the odontogenic origin, and for the week, we'll be completing all the cysts that are important in this. So for more such videos, head on to the channel and stay tuned for more. So a cyst is defined as a pathological cavity having fluid, semi-fluid or gaseous content not created by the accumulation of pus. So to break down this definition, the first part tells us that this is a pathological cavity. Okay, this is not normally seen. As the image on the right, this is a swelling that normally does not occur. It is a pathological cavity. A cyst also means a sac, right? A sac like a balloon. So definitely this should have some content, right? So the content can either be fluid, semi-fluid or gaseous. So you see in this image on the right, you have a content which is semi-fluid. It is thick, white, creamy cheese, right? So you know that this is a pathological cavity. You know its content. Now the third thing is its content is not pus. So it is not created by the accumulation of pus. If it contained pus, it would have been called an abscess. And sometimes the cyst can be secondarily infected, which is called a cyst abscess. Okay, so we know that this is a pathological cavity having fluid, semi-fluid, gaseous content, not pus. It is frequently, but not always, lined by epithelium. So before going further, let's look at this case that it presented to us 2 years back. There is a swelling that you see in the left lower mandibular arch. So you see it in relation to 3-4 and 3-5, isn't it? When we palpated it, what we saw was a soft inconsistency, right? So the palpation was soft inconsistency and the aspiration gave us a pale yellow fluid. Pale yellow fluid. Now the question is, how do we diagnose whether this is a cyst or a tumor or any other pathology of the oral cavity? And this is what we'll be studying in the further videos. From here, we go on to the parts of the cyst. The parts of the cyst, it is like a coconut shell, right? So the outer shell, it is thick and fibrous, right? So one second. Yeah. So the outer shell, like this brown in color, this is the outer fibrous layer, right? So this is made up of the connective tissue capsule. Inside this, you have a lining epithelium represented by this white part, right? So you have a lining epithelium. And further inside this, you have the actual cavity space, which is called the lumen. In a coconut, it has this fluid. So similarly, in a cyst also, it might be fluid, semi-fluid or gaseous. So again, the parts of the cyst are the outer dense connective tissue capsule, the inner cystic lining, enclosing the cystic lumen. Based on the presence or absence of the cystic lining, the cyst can be classified into a true cyst or a pseudocyst. So the cysts which do have an epithelial lining, this pink in color, these are called true cysts. Example, dentigerous cyst, odontogenic keratocyst, and radicular cyst. And the ones that do not have epithelium, as here, right? You only have the connective tissue capsule enclosing the lumen. So these are called pseudocysts. Examples, mucocele, aneurysmal bone cyst, and solitary bone cyst. So you have true cyst and pseudocyst based on the presence or absence of epithelium, lining epithelium. So from here, we move on to the clinical, radiographic, and histopathological diagnosis. But before that, let's go over the most toughest part, which is the classification. So Scheer had classified the cyst of the orofacial head and neck region into 3, which was the cyst of the jaws, the cyst of the maxillary antrum, and the cyst of the soft tissues. So how do you remember this? Cyst of jaws, maxillary antrum, and soft tissues. You make a mnemonic called JAMES, right? J for jaws, M for maxillary antrum, S for soft tissues. Now further, the cyst of the jaws can be classified in 3 layers, which is remembered by Edo. the mnemonic Edo. Okay, so James Edo. Now, if you want to further make a story to remember this, you can think that James could either be saying the truth or false, right? So, truth indicating epithelial cyst, false indicating non-epithelial cyst. Example, traumatic bone cyst and aneurysmal bone cyst. The epithelial cysts are further classified into developmental and inflammatory, right? So, how do you remember this? He could be saying the truth from birth, or something would have happened at a later stage in life. So if it was present at birth, it is called a developmental cyst. And if it happened later in life, you can remember inflammatory cyst because it occurs secondary to dental caries or trauma. Examples are radicular and residual cyst. Now, developmental cyst can either be odontogenic or non-odontogenic. So he could be saying the truth from birth with or without his teeth, right? So the odontogenic cysts, they arise from the cells that are involved in odontogenesis. Odontogenesis is the development of teeth. So the cysts that are in the cells that are involved in odontogenesis give rise to the odontogenic cyst. The examples of which are primordial cyst, dentigerous cyst, eruption cyst, calcifying odontogenic cyst, lateral periodontal cyst, etc. Okay, and these cysts that do not arise out of structures that form the tooth are non-odontogenic. So these are easy to remember, right? These are not tooth-related areas. These are the nasopalatine cyst, the nasolabial cyst, and the globular maxillary cyst. Further, to see the other cysts, the cyst of the maxillary antrum, they include the benign mucosal cyst and the surgical ciliated cyst. And the cysts of the soft tissues are what you study in your general surgery, right? You study in detail the dermoid, epidermoid cyst, thyroglossal duct cyst, parasitic cyst, etc. So far we have completed the cyst of the jaws, which included epithelial, developmental, odontogenic and non-odontogenic cyst, and the inflammatory cyst. So from here, let's go on to some examples with clinical diagnosis. On the left, you see an image where a cyst has arisen in relation to an erupting incisor, right? And there is a considerable amount of blood giving it a bluish red hue. So this is more likely an eruption cyst. On the image on the right, what I want to show you is bone expansion, right? This is the labial cortex and this is the lingual cortex, and you can see a considerable expansion. So this is the example of a swelling which has grown so much that it has invaded the cortical plates. The third is a swelling in relation to the anterior hard palate, and based on the location, this is more likely a mid-palatine cyst. The radiographic diagnosis or the radiographic picture could also give us a clue. So, for example, you have the mandible over here, and this is the ramus third molar area. The most likely cyst to occur here is the OKC, right? It tends to occur in the ramus area, and it grows in an antero-posterior manner. The second cyst is the dentigerous cyst, which is always associated with an unerupted tooth, right? And the radiolucency is up to the cemento-enamel junction. So this is a dentigerous cyst. Now, what you see here is a radicular cyst. The radicular cyst always arises in relation to a non-vital tooth secondary to caries or some sort of trauma, right? So this is a cyst in relation to a non-vital tooth. A cyst that is in relation to a previously extracted non-vital tooth which had a history of radicular cyst is called a residual cyst. The one that arises between the two roots is the lateral periodontal cyst. Here you have something we have already seen, which is your eruption cyst. And this is a cyst of the soft tissue. So let's try to spot it in these radiographs. Here you have a radiolucency in relation to an unerupted impacted tooth, right? So this is obviously a dentigerous cyst. Here you have it between the two roots of teeth. So this is likely a lateral periodontal cyst. Here you have it in relation to the periapical region, right? This is the apex of the tooth, the periapical region. This could be a radicular cyst. Okay. Further, Here we have a radiolucency. Again, this is in relation to a previously extracted tooth. So this could be a residual cyst. This shows you a scalloped radiolucency present in the ramus, right? And I told you it grows antero-posteriorly, so this could be an OKC. And the third image shows you a radiolucency. Again, it is present in the ramus, the extending up to the angle and the coronoid and the condyle, but it is associated with a non-erupted tooth. So this is most likely a dentigerous cyst, which has grown considerably in size. Okay, histopathologically, here you have the gold standard diagnosis is always your biopsy, right? You excise the lesion. First, you clinically identify it, then you radiographically identify it, and then you excise it and send it for a biopsy, right? And this gives you the gold standard diagnosis. So here what you see is a lining epithelium, 2 to 3 layers of flatted cells and a connective tissue capsule, right? So this is what we'll be studying in the future videos. So with this, we have completed the video, and the final thing is a few correlation with the cells of origin and cyst developing. OKC arises from the cell rest of series, dentigerous cyst arises from the reduced enamel epithelium, and the periapical or the radicular cyst and the residual cyst arises from the cell rest of molasses. So how do you remember this? There's a mnemonic called MRP. Okay, M for cell rest of molasses, and R and P for residual cyst and radicular cyst or periapical cyst. Okay, dentigerous cyst, how do you remember? You say red, right? So R for reduced enamel epithelium and D for dentigerous cyst. Then how do you remember OKC? This is probably, you can say DSO, right? D for dental lamina, which is the cell rest of Surrey's, which gives rise to OKC. Okay, so I hope this mnemonic also helps you. MRP, dentigerous cyst is red, and then DSO. Further, let's just have some review questions before we end the video. First is define a cyst. So a cyst is a pathological cavity having fluid, semi-fluid or gaseous content not created by the accumulation of pus, frequently but not always lined by epithelium. Then describe the parts, which is the lumen, epithelial lining and connective tissue capsule, and then classify the cyst of the jaws. We have gone in detail with the mnemonic Janes, right? So two MCQ questions. One of them is not a true cyst, right? One of them is not a true cyst. Not a true cyst means it has a lumen and a connective tissue capsule, no epithelial lining, right? So the answer obviously is your hemorrhagic cyst. You've already studied this, right? In this epithelial cyst and non-epithelial cyst. The example is hemorrhagic cyst. And the other cysts are basically your non-odontogenic cysts, right? They come over here. Non-odontogenic cysts lined by epithelium, right? So these are the nasopalatine, nasolabial, and globulomaxillary. The second MCQ asks, which of the following cyst arises from the remnants of Hertwig's epithelial root sheath? So Hertwig's epithelial root sheath is nothing but the cell rests of molasses, right? And we have remembered the mnemonic MRP. So it is residual cyst and periapical cyst. Here you have the residual cyst as well as the periapical cyst. It is also called the radicular cyst. Okay, so don't be confused. So with this, we come to the end of the video. We've discussed the definition, parts, classification, many examples, as well as the cells of origin. I hope this video helps you. We have gone in depth over odontogenic cysts, and in the future videos also, we'll try to understand it in detail. So for more such videos, head on to the channel, subscribe, like, share, comment, and do have a good day.